So here's a question for you. What wisdom would you share if you knew it was your last chance? That's the powerful idea at the very heart of The Last Lecture, a book by a man who had to answer that question for real. So today, we're going to dive into his incredible story.
And right from the get-go, Randy Pausch makes it crystal clear this wasn't going to be some somber, sad farewell. No way. It was a powerful, super optimistic celebration of life, and it was absolutely packed with lessons on how to live it.
You know, this whole last lecture thing, it's actually an academic tradition where professors are asked to imagine their final talk and boil down what really truly matters to them. But for Randy Pausch, this wasn't some thought experiment. This was real. Like very real.
Okay, so to really get the power of this lecture, you've got to understand the man who gave it and the absolutely incredible stakes he was facing. This was so much more than just another academic talk.
Pausch walks out, and right away he introduces what he calls the elephant in the room. He had terminal pancreatic cancer. And he didn't just say it, he actually projected his own CT scans up on the screen, showing the 10 tumors in his liver. He just bluntly told everyone he only had months to live. But then, right after dropping that bombshell, he does something nobody saw coming. He just drops to the stage and starts cranking out push-ups. And with that one simple act, you can just imagine, the whole energy in the room completely shifted. Any feeling of pity just vanished and turned into this sense of awe and empowerment.
So you gotta ask, why even do it, right? Why give a lecture when you have so little time left? Well, for Pausch, it was a way to cement his legacy, to say goodbye, but also just to feel alive. It was his chance for one last roar.
And that brings us to the absolute genius of his lecture. He decided it wasn't going to be about dying at all. Nope. He was going to frame his entire life through this incredible lens, achieving his wildest childhood dreams.
And we're not talking about ordinary dreams here. I mean, look at his actual slide from the presentation. He wanted to experience zero gravity, play in the NFL, write an article for the World Book Encyclopedia, be Captain Kirk for crying out loud, and on top of all that, become a Disney Imagineer. It was a pretty ambitious list, to say the least.
And the stories he told about chasing these dreams are just incredible. Take the zero gravity one. His students got accepted into a NASA program, but there was a catch. Faculty advisors weren't allowed to fly. So what does he do? He finds this little loophole that said a journalist could go. So he promptly resigns as a faculty advisor and reapplies as a journalist. And you know what? It actually worked.
And that story is the perfect setup for one of his most famous ideas, the brick wall. Pausch said that brick walls aren't there to keep us out. They're there to stop the other people, the ones who don't want it badly enough. They're basically an opportunity to prove just how dedicated you are. And inside every single one of these stories, Pausch packed in this cascade of super clear, actionable advice. Lessons on how to live a genuinely good life. He famously asked the crowd, "Are you a Tigger or Eeyore?" It's such a great question. Are you bouncy and optimistic, or are you kind of gloomy and pessimistic? The whole point is that it's a choice. I mean, Pausch himself said, "I'm dying and I'm having fun, and I'm going to keep having fun every day I have left." Just wow. He also gave some incredibly practical tips. For example, he broke down what a proper apology looks like. It's just 3 simple parts. It's not just mumbling, sorry. It's about admitting you were wrong, showing you get that you hurt someone, and then asking how you can make it better. So simple, but so powerful. And his talk was just filled with these core principles. Things like always tell the truth, show gratitude. He would literally send Thin Mints to people just to say thanks. Don't complain, just work harder. Look for the best in everyone. And of course, manage your time, because as he knew better than anyone, it's the one thing you can't get more of. This quote just perfectly wraps up his whole philosophy, doesn't it? It's not about just obsessively chasing your dreams. It's about living your life the right way, with integrity, with kindness. And if you do that, the dreams, well, they have a way of finding you.
But the lecture wasn't over. It had one final, really powerful twist. Actually, it had 2. Pausch called them head fakes. Like in football, where you make someone think you're going one way, but you go another. And he put that exact question to his audience. Have you figured out the head fake? The whole talk seemed to be about one thing, but it was really about something much, much deeper. So here's the first head fake. The lecture was never really about achieving childhood dreams. That was just, the fun part, the sugar to help the medicine go down. The real lesson was everything he taught along the way, about honesty, perseverance, and finding joy. The dreams were just a vehicle to teach people how to live. But then
he revealed there was a second head fake, an even more profound one. The entire performance, all the lessons, the whole thing, it was all created for a very specific and deeply personal audience.
And there it is. The talk wasn't for the people in the room that day. It was for his kids, his 3 young children, who were just 5, 2, and 1 year old. He knew they'd grow up with almost no memories of him. This was his way of leaving something behind, of teaching them what he believed in and telling them who their dad really was.
Pausch's legacy is, of course, immense, but one of the most visible symbols is this footbridge at his university, Carnegie Mellon. And it's perfect, really. It connects the computer science building with the arts building, which is a beautiful metaphor for his life's work of bringing technology and creativity together. And that brings us right back to where we started. Pausch's lecture really forces all of us to ask ourselves that same question. It's this incredible reminder that life isn't about preparing to die. It's about deciding how you're going to truly live, starting right now. So, what would your last lecture be about?